Very good morning. I am Shubha Nayak, PhD scholar, Dakshina Bharata Hindi Prachara Sabha. Today, I have to present my research paper on student ongoing research in education, that is the qualitative research. Qualitative research. Qualitative research is a process of naturalistic inquiry that seeks an in-depth understanding of social phenomena within their natural setting. It focuses on the why rather than the what of social phenomena and realizes on the direct experiences of human beings as meaning-making agent in their everyday lives. It deals with the words and the meanings. Qualitative methods allows exploring concepts and experiencing in more details. The characteristic of the qualitative research. Qualitative research method usually collect the data at a site where the participants are experiencing issues or problems. These are real-time data and rarely bringing the participant out of the geographic locations to collect the information. And the second character is qualitative research typically gather multiple forms of data such as interviews, observations, and the documents rather than really in the single data sources. And next, this type of research method works towards the solving complex issues by breaking down into the meaningful inferences that is easily readable and understood by all. Since it is a more communicative method, people can build that trust on the researcher and the information thus obtained in the raw and the unadulterated. The types of the qualitative research method. Most qualitative projects are pre-structured, at least in terms of the equivalent of research protocol, setting out what we are doing, why, and the how. There are 6 basic categories of the qualitative research design. These are ethnographic, historic, phenomenological, grounded theory, case study, and the action research. Now we detailed about the research methods. First one is the ethnography. Ethnographic research is the most in-depth observational method that studies people in their natural occurring environment. In ethnography, we immerse our self in the target participants' environment to understand the goals, cultures, challenges, motivations, and the themes that emerges. Ethnography has its records in cultural ethnography, where researchers immerse themselves within a culture often for years. Though multiple data collection approaches, observations, interviews, and the documentary data, ethnographic research offers a qualitative approach with the potential to yield detailed and comprehensive accounts of different social phenomena. And the second one is the historical study. Historical studies concern the identification, location, evaluation, and the synthesis of the data from the past. Historical research seeks not only to discover the events of the past, but to relate these past happenings to the present and to the future. The process of historical research is basically the same as in many other types of scientific research. The problems areas are or area of interest is clearly identified and the literature is reviewed. Research questions are formulated finally and the data are collected and analyzed. The sources of historical data are frequently referred as the primary and the secondary sources. Primary sources are those that provide the first-hand information or the direct evidence. These are visual artifacts, oral records, unpublished document, published document. These are all primary sources. And the secondary sources are the second-hand information. That these are books, journal articles, historical maps, census data. The data for historical research should be subjected to external criticism and internal criticism. And the third one is the phenomenology. In phenomenological research, the respondents are asked to describe their experiences as they perceive them. They may write about their experiences, but information is generally obtained through the interviews. The researcher must be first identify what she or they expect to discover and then deliberately put us these ideas. This process is called as the bracketing. Phenomenological approach can be applied to single case or the selected samples. A variety of methods can be used in the phenomenological based research. These are interviews, conversations, participants, observation, action research, focus meeting, and the analysis of the personal text. And the fourth one is the grounded theory. Grounded theory is study in which data are collected and analyzed, and then the theory is developed that is grounded in the data. It looks like provide an explanatory or the theory behind the event. Rather than using probability sampling, here we use the purposeful sampling method. Diversity rather than simplicity is sought in the people that is sampled. Data are gathered in naturalistic settings. Data collection and the data analysis occur simultaneously. A process called constant comparison is used, in which data is constantly compared to the data that have already been gathered. And the fifth one is the case study. Case studies are in-depth examination of people or grounds of people. A case study may be considered as a quantitative or the qualitative research, depending on the purpose of the study and the design chosen by the researcher. As is true of other types of qualitative study, for the case study to be considered as a qualitative study, the researcher must be interested in the meaning of the experiences to the subject themselves, rather than in generalizing result to other groups of people. In case study are useful approach where the focus is to explain the complexity of the real life situation. When subjects are chosen for case study, care must be taken in the selection of the process. And the sixth one is the action research. Action research is a type of qualitative research that seeks action to improve the practice and the study the effect of the action that has taken. Solutions are sought to practice problems in one particular environment. There is no goal of trying to generalize the findings of the study, as is the case of the qualitative research method. In action research, the implementation of the solution occurs as an actual part of the research process. There is no delay in the implementation of the solution. Here we find the action research cycle, that is planning, acting, observing, and the reflective. Now we discuss about the data collection method. Qualitative data collection allows the collecting the data that is non-numeric and helps us to explore how decisions are made and provide us with the detailed insight. The qualitative method most commonly used for the researching purpose can be classified in 6 broad categories: test, questionnaires, interviews, focus group, observation method, and the constructed and the secondary or the existing data. The qualitative research interview seeks to describe and gain the understanding of the certain themes in the life world of the subject. Interviews can be organized one-to-one or group, depending on the topic under study, the cultural context, and the aims of the project. Written materials or the documents such as the institutional records, personal diaries, and the historical public documents may also serve as the valuable sources of secondary data, providing insight into the lives and the experience of the group under study. How we manage the data? Qualitative research may use some of the qualification, but a statistical form of analysis are not central. Instead of qualitative data analysis aims to uncover emerging themes, patterns, concepts, insights, and understanding. The data are allowed to speak for themselves by the emergence of the conceptual category and the descriptive themes. However, if we do not have access to qualitative data management software, then use proper paper and pencil, read and reread transcripts, take notes on specifications and the bigger patterns, and label different themes with the different color pens. Data analysis. Qualitative data can take in the form of the text, photos, videos, and the audios. For example, you might be working with the interviews, transcripts, survey, response, field notes, or the recording from natural settings. Most type of qualitative data analysis share the same 5 steps. Main points, 5 steps are prepare and organize the data, review and explore the data, develop a data coding system, assign the codes to the data, and identification recurring themes. What are the advantages of the qualitative research? Qualitative research often tries to preserve the voice and the perspective of the participant and can be adjusted as a new research questions arises. Then qualitative research is good for its flexibility. It is flexibility. The data collection and analyze the process can be adopted as a new ideas or the patterns emerges. They are not rigid decided beforehand. Natural settings, data collection occurs in real world context or in naturalistic ways. Meaningful insights and the generation of the new ideas. These are all advantages of the qualitative research. There are some disadvantages also in qualitative research. They are Unreliability. The real world setting often makes the qualitative research unreliable because of the uncontrolled factors that affects the data. Then the subjectivity. Due to the researcher primary role in analyzing and the interpreting data, qualitative research cannot be replicated. The research decides what is important and what is irrelevant in data analysis. So interpretation of the same data can vary greatly. Limited generalizations. Small samples are often used to gather detailed data about a specific context. Despite rigorous analysis procedure, it is difficult to draw generalizable conclusion because the data may be biased or the unrepresentative of the wider population. And the fourth one is the labor intensive. Although software can be used to manage and record the large amount of text, data analysis often has to be checked out before manually. Now we discussed about all the research, qualitative research, the steps and how types of the qualitative research, advantages and the disadvantages of the qualitative research. Generally, qualitative research relies the data obtained by the researcher from the first-hand observation, interview, questionnaires, focus groups, and the participant observation, recording made in the natural settings, documents, case studies, and artifacts. If conducted well, qualitative research can answer specific research questions that cannot be adequately answered using quantitative design. Seeing qualitative and the qualitative method as equal to help to us become more aware and critical of the fit between the research problems and our chosen method. This is my research paper presentation, and these are all my references that I may help this. Those are all help to help my the research paper. Thank you. Thank you very much.